Now let's talk about the event creation wizard and what makes that up. We have the event elements, inviting suppliers, and event approvals. In this lesson, creating sourcing events, we're going to take a look at the event creation wizard, different event elements, how to invite suppliers, and event approvals. Now let's discuss the event creation wizard and sourcing director. A wizard leads users through a process easily, effectively, efficiently, in a logical order. This helps ensure that no critical steps are missed. Now let's go through and walk through the event creation wizard. To get there, we'll go to sourcing director icon, create new event. The event creation wizard. When you're first creating an event, you'll need to give your event a title. You'll also need to place that event in a project. Every event created in Sourcing Director will need to reside in a project. Everything in the wizard that is mandatory has a black star. Once you've named the event, you'll select what project you're going to place that event in. Again, what access you have to projects is all going to be permission-based. All right. Once you select a project, you can then give your event type, or you can choose to create from a template. If you create your event from a template, you do not need to select an event type. By creating from a template, the event type is already going to be identified. If you click a template, you can click the list and you'll see what available templates you have, or you can search for a template. Again, this is also something that is permission-based. Once the template is selected, the event type is auto-populated and you can click Create Sourcing Event. Once your event has been created successfully, you'll land in the Event Creation Wizard. This is where you'll see the setup, users, description, prerequisites, buyer attachments, items, suppliers, and have the ability to review and submit. Let's walk through and talk about event creation elements. A description in an event is a brief explanation about the event and will help suppliers decide whether they want to submit bids or not for the sourcing event. Another event creation element are prerequisites. Prerequisites are requirements or questions you want suppliers to address before they see any of the details or can submit bids on the event. Buyer attachments are any document or image or etc. that you want suppliers to be able to download or upload for information and vice versa. Supplier attachments provide a space for suppliers to upload additional information and documents. Questions are also another element in the event creation process. Questions are anything you want to ask to provide more insight other than just price quoted by the suppliers. Items are the actual products or services we're seeking pricing on. Once you've gone through the setup wizard and you're looking to invite suppliers to participate in the event, you can search a supplier based on the name, their relationship, whether they're in-network or out, a supplier contact, zip code, commodity codes, NEX codes, and there's the option for an advanced search. Advanced search allows you to search based on class, tax identification number, country of origin, profile last updated, registration date method. It goes into more granular details as far as what you can search for suppliers. You have the option to manually invite suppliers to participate in the event. You can also get an import template, or add a supplier to an event. Once adding a supplier, you select the supplier name, put in the supplier's email, and then save or save and add another. When inviting a supplier, you will see that the supplier's name has been added. To add to the event, you just click Add to Event. At this point, you can also delete the suppliers out. This is what it looks like when we're adding suppliers to an event. Click on the Add to Event. There's also a drop-down, and that will allow you at this point to remove those suppliers as well. Once the event wizard has been successfully completed, the event has been submitted, there may be a need for event approvals to take place. Based on permissions that event and workflow, that event may move through the process without needing approval. It is all based on how the event is set up. When we look into our action items, you can take unassigned event approvals and assign them to yourself or to other users. You would search for the event and click on the Assign button. Now a look and learn, creating an event. First, you'll create an RFQ. Make sure you put it in the purchasing project. You'll start with the IT Lab Setup template, complete the wizard, search in network database to invite 3 to 4 suppliers, invite the supplier you've created or been assigned to, submit the event. Here we are in the Setup wizard. This event was created from a template. This is going to allow us to see what values for commodity codes have been selected. If I click on it, it gives me a highlight of what is included. I have the option to force supplier invitation. If I say yes, any supplier who has identified themselves with any of these 7 commodities will be added to the event. We have our payment section where we have currency, estimated value, and payment terms. For this host site, the currency is marked as US dollars. We have an estimated value where a buyer can indicate what they think the estimated value of the total award will be. And then there's also the option for different payment terms. These options are all going to be based on how the buyer host site is set up and configured. We have sealed bid, proxy bid, cost per quality point, best value, panel questionnaire, auto scoring, cost analysis, allow split item quantity, enforce the minimum, and enforce the maximum. These options are going to be event options. You can determine if you want this on your event, yes, or no, you do not want to include it in your event. When we go to our display and communication, here's where you will indicate if this is going to be a public event or not. By selecting yes, that will automatically post this event on your host public site. We have our dates. When is the release date, the open date, close date, and Q&A submission date. The release date is when can suppliers log in and complete their prerequisites. Open date is when can they actually submit bids. Close date, when will those bids be no longer accepted? And the Q&A submission close date is when is the last time a supplier can submit a question. If you choose to save your progress, this will save everything you've completed on that page. When you log back in, you'll still find your work. If you choose to say next, it'll automatically save and take you into the next step of the wizard. The next step is our users. In the users, we see the event creator, and that's who literally created the event. We have event owners who have full control over the event, event managers who are identified at the project level, contacts, who's going to be displayed to the suppliers, and stakeholders, which can be identified at the event level or the project level as well. Once you've added all the appropriate users, select Next to advance in the wizard. Here we have a description. This is what the suppliers will see to know if they want to participate in the event or not. You can update this description, change font, color, import images or hyperlinks. You can also create or add a description from a library. If you choose to copy from a library, you click on that link and you'll pick what libraries you have available to you. Libraries that you have access to are permission-based. Here we see different descriptions that we can put in our event. If we want to see what that description looks like, just click on the hyperlink that shows the content. If content with the description that we have, just click Close. We can then go next to go to our prerequisites. Because this event was created from a template, there are 3 prerequisites that are listed. Any prerequisite that is mandatory has a lock. That means it's required to view the event. We can add a brand new prerequisite from scratch, or we can add a prerequisite from the library. Again, you'll pick what library you have access to and select your prerequisite from the list. A prerequisite that has a star means that is mandatory to actually submit a bid, not to view the event itself. If the prerequisites that are included in a template, you have some actions where we can come in and edit that, download it, upload a new version, or delete it completely. Once I select Next, it moves me on to my buyer attachments. My buyer attachments show additional information that will just simply allow for suppliers to download to give more accurate bids. You also have the opportunity to add a new attachment from scratch or to copy from a library. Our questions can be grouped or marked by pages or however you would like to have your questions identified. Here we only have 4 questions, but if you had 100 questions, you could export the template, add your questions in Excel, and then import it back in to have them loaded in the system. Here we have a star that indicates that a response is required from a supplier. If you want to edit a question, you can select Edit and change the question or make updates to the question. Here's where we can also include this in auto scoring. So for example, if I say use this in auto scoring or use this in cost analysis, I'll first select response type, yes, and maybe I want to give a score of 5, and then I'll hit check. And then if I select response type no, I can give a score of 1. Make sure you save your responses. With the questions, you have an option to edit all of them. Here, if I want to include the response that it's required and include auto scoring as well, I will do the same. So if I select response type is Dell, go through HP, it's important that you create your scale that makes sense to everybody on your team. You don't want to have a scale that only makes sense to the event creator here. All right, so I've added my auto score responses, but now I'm going to add my cost analysis. So how do I want this to be adjusted? And we can have it adjusted by dollar amount or even a percentage. All right, and save our changes here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I edit this other. We've done our auto score, but not cost analysis. So let me go ahead and check that so that we can configure that adjustment as well. All right, and we've saved our changes. Okay, I'm then going to go next. And that will take us to our additional item field. If I click on create an additional item field, I can create one from scratch. This will allow me to give a name, integration ID, description, if I want it applicable to the product line item, service line item, or both. And then if the supplier can respond or not, and if it's visible. If I have any additional item fields available in my libraries, I will be able to click to see what libraries and then see what's available in there. So none in global, but let's check out services. We don't have any in services either. We have 3 items that are included in this event. We have 2 that are product line items and 1 that is a service line item. I can come in and make edits to say we want to update the quantity. We need 25 computers. In this case, it makes sense that the unit of measure is each, but you have a complete list of what you want the unit of measure to be if it can be changed. Can indicate if it's required for a supplier to submit the unit price. You can also include your target price and historic target price and attach any files that may have been from the past. We have a wireless router that we want, and if I go into service line items, this is going to allow me to see what the complete installation is going to be. So suppliers can give us 3 bids. At this point, we can also add a product. I can add a brand new item or add an item from the library. And I can check what library I have available to me. And maybe I'm also going to add office chairs to this bid to go in our computer lab. You can come in and edit. Say we want 25 chairs as well. And save. I can then go next. And the final stop is add suppliers and then review and submit. So at this point, I can search a supplier by their name and hit search, and any supplier under the name of Make My Data will be populated. All right, you can have multiple contacts for one supplier, as you can see here, and I've added that one supplier. I have the option to add suppliers from a group, or if I modify my search, I have the option to do an advanced search. You can search in-network or out-of-network or all within a mile radius of a zip code based on commodity codes. There are tons of different search capabilities. In the advanced search, you can see that indicated here. If I go to class, I can check out any of my training suppliers, US vendors, green suppliers. I also have the option to add suppliers from a group if I have a group of suppliers selected. I'm going to add all 17 of these suppliers, and it tells me 16 suppliers were added. However, 1 was already added to the event. I'll then go next, and my final step is to review my event creation, make any edits to the setup, users, suppliers, or items, and then submit for approval. Once the event has been submitted for approval, you'll get an event submission confirmation. If I choose to return to my event, it will tell me what status this event is in. So it's currently pending approval, and it has to be approved before it's actually released. Once the event is submitted, another look and learn, sourcing director approvals. Go to action items, assign the event to yourself, my approvals, options, and approve. So how do you actually approve an event? Let's discuss that. There are a couple of ways you can approve an event. The easiest way is to go to workflow actions and approve based on the permissions you have. That moves it from pending approval to actually approved. And if we refresh the screen, it'll move from approved to open. And here's the event that has now been approved and marked open. I'm going to log out, and then we're going to discuss what it looks like from a supplier's perspective.